It began on a quiet autumn evening when the first chill of the season brushed through the sleepy town of Black Hollow. Amelia Harper, a young journalist, had recently moved into a quaint, historic house at the edge of the woods. The locals had warned her about the property, but she dismissed their hushed whispers and sidelong glances as nothing more than superstition. The house was charming, with its creaky wooden floors and ornate Victorian design. It was also remarkably affordable, a blessing for someone on a journalist's salary. The previous owners had left abruptly, leaving behind furniture, books, and peculiar items that seemed untouched by time. Among them was a weathered leather-bound journal locked with a rusted clasp. Amelia found it in a drawer in the study. Unable to resist her curiosity, she pried open the clasp and flipped through its pages. Most were filled with incoherent scribbles and cryptic symbols, but a single entry caught her attention. The whispers grow louder at night. I've locked the basement door, but they still find me. They always find me. That night, as the wind howled through the dense forest, Amelia lay in bed with her laptop, researching the history of her house. Stories of disappearances, strange sounds, and sightings of shadowy figures painted a grim picture. The most unsettling account was of a family who had vanished without a trace decades ago. As the clock struck midnight, Amelia heard a faint, rhythmic tapping. She froze, straining her ears. The sound came from beneath her, deep and deliberate. Gathering her courage, she grabbed a flashlight and tiptoed to the basement door. The tapping grew louder as she descended the stairs. The basement was cold and damp, filled with forgotten relics and cobwebs. In the far corner stood an old armoire, its doors slightly ajar. The tapping had stopped. Amelia hesitated, then approached the armoire. Her hand trembled as she pulled the door open. Inside was a mirror, its glass clouded and streaked with age. But as she stared, her reflection didn't mimic her movements. Instead, it smiled. The room plunged into darkness, and Amelia felt an icy breath on her neck. She spun around, her flashlight flickering. There was nothing there. The next morning, she awoke on the basement floor with no memory of how she had fallen asleep there. The journal lay beside her, open to a new page. The mirror is the key, do not look too long. Over the following days, the whispers began. At first, they were faint, like the rustling of leaves. But they grew louder, more distinct. They called her name, beckoning her to return to the mirror. Sleep became a distant memory as the voices consumed her nights. The lines between reality and nightmare blurred. One evening, Amelia decided to destroy the mirror. Armed with a hammer, she descended into the basement. But as she raised it, the whispers erupted into a deafening cacophony. Her reflection in the mirror pleaded with her, mimicking her terror. "Don't," it begged. "You don't understand." She hesitated for a moment too long. The glass shattered, not outward, but inward, as if pulled into a void. The fragments swirled, forming a vortex that began to draw her in. Amelia clawed at the ground, screaming as shadowy hands emerged from the mirror and dragged her into the darkness. The house was silent again when the vortex disappeared, leaving no trace of the mirror or Amelia. Weeks later, a for sale sign reappeared on the lawn. Another young couple toured the house, enamored by its charm and affordability. They didn't notice the faint whispers emanating from the basement or the old journal hidden in the study. The cycle had begun anew.